And let's get the
Make sure it does take.
And the screen name.
Test 1 2 1 2.
live stream. All good? Okay, good morning everyone. Thank you for attending today's Ordinary Council meeting. I declare the Ordinary meeting 27 November 2024 open at 9 a.m. I advise any members of the public that this meeting is being live streamed and recorded in accordance with Council standing orders. Councillors and staff are reminded of their responsibilities under their respective codes of conduct, both inside the Council meeting and when dealing externally on behalf of Council. On behalf of Whitsunday Regional Council, I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land in which we meet here today and paying my respects to elders past, present and emerging. We recognise their deep enduring connection to country and we extend our respect and gratitude for their wisdom and culture. Welcome fellow councillors, WRC staff, members of the public and media. Item number one, apologies leaves their absence. We've got everybody here, so there's no apologies for this meeting. Item number two, condolences. Is there any councillors that would like to wish to acknowledge any recently deceased members of the community? Okay, on behalf of Whitsunday Regional Council, we'd like to acknowledge and pay respects to the recently departed for the Whitsundays region and offer our sincere condolences to their families and loved ones. Can you all please raise for a minute silence? Thank you. Please be seated. Okay, first order is our Junior Elite Athletes presentation. Can we bring them in, please? Morning, how are you? Menders. Welcome everybody, please come in. There's plenty of seats. How are we all? Good. Alright, Council provides financial support for junior elite athletes who participate in representative competition at a regional, state or national level. The grant is provided to applicants by Council to assist in meeting the costs associated with participating in a representative sports program. Today we have some fantastic junior elite athletes joining us to be recognised for their outstanding achievements. Well done to you all. Our first certificate goes to, and I need to pronounce this right, Tejana Nganatu, for Northern Region School Rugby League. Congratulations. Next one is for Charlie Williams, NQ Cross Country Championships and Queensland State Championships Track and Field. Right, got two there. Isabel Williams for NQ Cross Country Championships. Reed Martin, International Eastern Seaboard Regatta Sailing. Well done. Keely Muir, Queensland State Championships Track and Field. Elia Palmer, Northern Region School Rugby League. And Stella Needham, NQ Softball Championships. Can we please give these outstanding young athletes another big round of applause? Quick photo. No problem. Come here, guys. Good on you guys.
Thank you.
Gave him a plug at the last meeting when I saw her as well.
Thank you. Alrighty, next item is confirmation of minutes. Can I have a mover, please? Move Councillor Wright, second Councillor Collins. Any comments on the previous minutes? Nope. Okay, we'll put that to the vote. The Council confirms the minutes of the ordinary meeting held 30th October 2024. All those in favour? The motion is carried unanimously. Item number 4, business arising. Would any council like to raise any business from the previous minutes? No? Okay, on to item number 5, Merrill Minute. There is no Merrill Minute. Item number 6, notice of motion. No notices of motion have been received for this meeting. Item number 7, deputations. We have no deputations for this meeting. Item number 8, petitions or questions on notice. Does any council have a petition they wish to put forward? Councillor Collins.
I've got a letter here but I'd like to receive seeking support from residents of Whitsunday Division 3 in regards to Grey Road, so I'd like to receive it and pass on to the CEO to action, please. Thank you.
Yep, we do need to vote. Okay, so move Councillor Collins and second Councillor Clifford. All those in favour of receiving the petition? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. Item number 9, questions from the public gallery. We have no one in the public gallery, no questions received from this meeting. Item number 10, committee reports. We have no committee reports. Okay, moving on to our officers' reports. Item 11.1, 24-25 operational plan Q1 review. Move Councillor Wright, second Councillor Clifford. Mr. CEO, would you like to start us off with your summary and we'll work around from there?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'm pleased to present the first quarter report up till the 3rd of September 2024. This builds on our first budget of this new council and the new capital program that's going forward. Just a couple of quick highlights. Council was honoured with the 2024 LGMS Risk Excellence Award at the recent LGAQ conference, collected by the Mayor and the staff in relation to it. And this was for our key risk indicators for strategic risks program. Also like to highlight that during this quarter we adopted the local housing action plan, which set in place a range of actions for us to address the housing issues going forward. And also during this quarter, the team in the disaster management area really started to get ready for the disaster season and put in place a lot of training and equipment to actually ensure that we're ready for this next season before us. Finally, I'd just like to thank the staff who have performed extremely well over this quarter in relation to activities all the way from our parks to our libraries to providing water and sewage to our community. And now I'd like to pass over to the other directors to provide some of their achievements during this quarter.
Director Murphy, would you like to provide an operational plan?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. A few items to note within the program. The first thing I'd like just to highlight is just the support as the asset owner for the capital delivery. So the project control group arrangements and the communication with the capital team as we deliver a pretty big capital program, probably the biggest one this council's seen for a long time, is progressing quite well. The second one is there's nothing more important than water security. We've progressed the development of the new bores around Proserpine, so this is to supplement what we already have and make sure we're actually drawing water from those sources that are effectively the most cost effective for council to pull water from. So that project is progressing quite well, and we're also progressing the waste construction within New Cells at Kelsey Creek and the management of the complications around having to transfer waste development at the moment. But that contract in relation to development Kelsey Creek, it's always going to be a challenge, but it's progressing okay and getting it started during that quarter for the operational plan is actually useless some security, but you might have something available to us should we have an event over this storm season. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Director. Director McGovern, would you like to provide an update?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just further to the CEO's comments about the local housing action plan, that's a document that we put together to try and alleviate some of the housing pressures that is being experienced in the region. It will involve a review of the planning scheme and the provisions of the planning scheme, which is underway, as well as looking at the infrastructure networks, and I certainly thank the other directorates that are contributing to that. We do expect that the local housing action plan will be a very good advocacy document, and it will enable us to show to the state and the grant funding bodies that we are moving in the right direction and we have a good idea about which direction we want to go. In addition to that, there is the work that has been commenced on growth management and housing strategy, and that focuses on dealing with other directorates and the network planning that is underway. It certainly adds on to the work that has been done with spatial economics and our growth scenarios moving forward for the next 15 and 20 years. And the good thing that's come out of that is that we were successful in getting a grant of $100,000, and that will really help us add some resources to the work that we're doing.
Thank you, Director. Acting Director Hardy.
Councillors, there's 3 points we'd like to raise through this operational plan report for community facilitation. One's the Yellow Crazy Ant survey, which was conducted in September. That involved 32 people from 4 different agencies, state agencies, local government, working together to more define the Yellow Crazy Ant infestation at Shute Harbour. So through that effort over 3 days, we were able to better define the Yellow Crazy Ant infestation at Shute Harbour, which then enables us to treat the infestation more efficiently. The second point is around the Collinsville pool upgrades, where we now have a 25-metre pool. We've installed a bulkhead to the Collinsville pool. So the pool was 33 metres long, now it's 25 metres long, so now we can actually hold Australian competition for swimming. Through that work, we also replaced some tiles, replaced the chlorine tank, and replaced the pumps out there as well. The third item is the Bowen Library refurbishment, which took 6 weeks to fix the ceiling and replace the air conditioning unit seat. So now we have a safer environment there for our library patrons. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Director Turner, update on our commercial services.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. So the first achievement for the commercial director was the announcement and delivery of Adelaide direct flights. So 3 flights a week starting 1st September. That will deliver another 44,000 seats to the region and also expand our destination into further parts of Australia, which will keep to drive tourism. That's a great result there for the department. Also, we can arrange with regards to bringing events to town to actually drive the economy. Things like the ramped up skate program going on. 2 days, reached out to Bowen, across the Pine, and also Early Beach, and next year we're going to Collinsville as well. And again, Whitsunday holiday parks, branding all the parks under one brand, we're seeing significant uplift in revenue, in bookings, and that's translated into profit. So some really exciting issues going on that are actually building a bottom line return.
Thank you, Director. Acting Director.
Cheers. Through the chair, I'd like to highlight 3 highlights from the operational plan in the first quarter. The first one being around our financial reporting and annual report. So this is the time that we developed and finalized our annual report to report on everything that we've done in the last financial year. And also in regards to our financial statement, managed to finalize all the audited financial statements. And we also received an unmodified audit opinion and certified certification from the financial statements from the Queensland Audit Office as well. And highlighting that is the closing audit report for 23-24 indicated that Council had met all its requirements for financial sustainability measures within all the ratios and all the guidelines and all the internal matters that were raised are being addressed on an ongoing basis. The second highlight would have to be around our corporate plan. So that's to just inform everyone and the community that the process for the development of the next corporate plan for the next 5 years has commenced. And in that, this is the process where Council is setting its directions, its strategies and priorities for the next 5 years. The draft initial document is out now for public consultation. There are locations as well for consultation throughout the regions that are happening as we speak. So we encourage everyone in the community to get on and give their feedback as well to Council for that process to continue as it's going. And the last item I might highlight is just around our asset management strategy implementation. So the asset management plans for the Whitsunday Coast Airport, holiday parks and open parks, ICT and fleet are currently under development, and further work is being done to assess the current asset management maturity and also to improve the AMI project is called, progressing well, and the team across Council to ensure that it fits the needs while redefining the process itself.
Questions or comments, councillors? Pretty comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. All right, the motion that Council receive the operational plan for quarter one progress report to the period 30th of September 2024. I put to the vote. Those in favour? Motion is carried unanimously. Item 11.2, trustee lease for Whitsunday Sports Park operations. We'll start with Councillor Simpson.
I'd like to declare a prescribed conflict of interest as I've done in the past with the sports park. I'm a client of one of the committee members down there, so I'll leave the room.
Thank you, Councillor.
Mayor, I declare a squad conflict of interest in this matter. Business SPP partners who I work for and manager of has a business relationship with the executive officers of Whitsunday Sport Park business. So I'll take that one.
Thank you, Councillor. Okay, back to the matter. Move Councillor Clifford, second Councillor Wright. Acting Director James, would you like to speak?
This one. Excellent. Through the chair. So in this report, Council we're seeking approval to enter into a 10-year trustee lease with the Whitsunday Sports Park operations. A bit of context to the matter: the Whitsunday Sports Park held a trustee lease with Council over the original parcel of land since 2018 at a peppercorn rate. They've established infrastructure such as the clubhouse, sporting fields and amenities which allow their club to function successfully. The original trustee lease was not due to expire until August 2038. However, they have had to surrender that lease to enable the organisation to establish separate defined committees and organisational and corporation bodies to effectively operate the newly established clubhouse. Being a trustee lease, there are no available options to renew, so therefore a new lease agreement is required to be entered into to allow them to have tenure of the land and to facilitate the community groups, sporting groups and events on the playing fields, together with the ability to apply for community grants and upgrades for facilities of equipment as well. So as a result, then the lease has changed, and the initial lease signed in 2008 with separate titles now, and now have issued to define the freehold and trustee land as well as the road access. So the Whitsunday Sports Park operation now has finalised the incorporation into a new entity by the Office of Fair Trading, in line with Council's other community organisation leases, which is usually for a term of 10 years at a peppercorn rate. So at this meeting now, we are seeking to move forward and allow that to happen, so then they can operate effectively. And with the manager property here, if we have any further questions as well.
Mr. Mayor. Maybe just we could have an update on the old fire station, how that might relate to this whole parcel. And then also just with us doing this lease and leaving all the car park area in road reserve, does that mean that car park is council's responsibility to maintain and upgrade? Thanks.
In answer to your first question regarding the fire station, the Queensland Fire Rescue Service have confirmed we are allotted that parcel and be transferred to council. I was told to be end this year. I think that's probably a little bit positive on the new regarding time frame, so we're still following them up regularly. That's to do with the on-site testing and things, but obviously we have the price properly. It is vacant, but yes, it's still in line to come over to us as a parcel of land. That's still good. In relation to the second part, yes. In the formation of the freehold, the car park was actually defined as a road, and therefore that then become part of council's assets, and the infrastructure services will be maintained by council in the future.
Comment? Just, I guess, one question from me, just to understand. Essentially, with this, we're really doing it because of that freeholding. So really, the lease itself isn't fundamentally changing, other than allowing for that freehold to occur. Is that correct?
Yeah, at this net, 100%. Freeholding exercise that parcel out, so that clubhouse operates as a commercial entity. The second part was the new entity being an incorporated body. I suppose is probably the only element I would say to that, because previously it was a private company owned by share. It had different type of auspices. Now they've actually had an incorporated body that just focuses on the sport. It does deal with that portion of the it's a better relationship.
Thank you. Any further councillors? Okay, the motion that council authorise the CEO to enter into negotiations for a peppercorn trustee lease with Whitsunday Sports Park Operations Inc. for the period noted in the report. I put to the vote. Those in favour? The motion is carried 5-0. We can let our two councillors back into the room, please. Welcome back, councillors. The motion was carried. Okay, on to item 11.3, another trustee lease for Creative Connections Whitsunday, 192 Main Street, Proserpine.
Mr. Mayor, something a bit different today. I'd like to declare a clerical conflict of interest in this matter. My wife, Pam, is a member of Creative Connections, and I guess probably a potential exhibitor at the if this gets approved. So today, I wish to participate in the position related to that, as I do not believe a reasonable person could have a perception of bias, because I believe that I can't take part in the decision today, and I'm not biased situation. So I'll leave it up to the councillors to keep me in or keep me out.
Anyone like to ask any questions?
Happy to move that.
Happy to. Okay, Councillor Wright moves. Second, Councillor Clifford. All those in favour? So it's carried 6-0 to allow the council to remain for the item. So back to the item. Move Councillor Collins. Second, Councillor Clifford. Acting Director, I'll let you start with this.
Thank you, through the chair. So this report seeks for council to approve to enter into a new part of a land lease following a request received from Creative Connections with Sundays for the purposes of establishing a community art gallery. So council owns the land at 192 Main Street, Proserpine, and Creative Connections with Sunday do not currently have a lease with council, and have made contact with council requesting a 10-year peppercorn lease agreement over the part of the land at 192 Main Street. The purposes of a community art gallery, the building they wish to lease has previously been leased by Anglicare, which was known as Food Bank. However, that lease since expired and the building is currently vacant. So the council sought expressions of interest via our have your say option, and 2 parties registered their interest, but were subsequently withdrawn from the confirmation of the requirements of the list being public liability insurance and current interest shown. Creative Connections Whitsunday is a non-profit community organization. The list is proposed at a public on right, and we'll be using council's community list template moving forward. Of that, and got our manager for property if we've got any further questions.
Thank you, Director. Any questions or comment on this one, councillors? Councillor Finlay?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to speak for the motion on this one. Look, I think this is an absolutely great initiative of Creative Connections to put this proposal to the council. The submission that they did put back in May. Have read through that, and it's a great submission. I just think this is a great initiative for a community organisation wanting to do something for our community. And as a council, we really need to support our community organisations in this. Creative Connections, they've got members from across the region, not just the Whitsunday end, obviously including Rowan, and as I mentioned before, my wife's part of this, and her friends are all part of this group. So I really see this as a great thing. I also hope in the future one day, our exhibition spaces will extend to our other provincial towns in our area as well, and become a major draw card for tourists as a art trail. Exhibition centres and art galleries, they're a major draw card to visitors to towns. I've travelled many places around Australia, overseas, always drawn to art galleries, and the number of people that get drawn into a town as a place to visit. Obviously, some people might buy something there, but probably the majority of people just like to have a look. So again, Mr. Mayor, I just want to really applaud the organisation for putting this submission together. We've got a great venue down there off the main highway, and really look forward to the success of the operation of this. Thank you.
I support that as well, Councillor. I think had been to this organisation's event there through the middle of the year at the Sailing Club. Well run event. Good participation and a good exhibit generally. I think that particular area in Proserpine has got a lot of potential. I think you've got good highway access there. There's parking. That particular building has really sat there idle for quite some time. So I think to see. I think really what I'd be interested in seeing is that connection between the existing museum, community centre, and this facility really activate that section of town, and I think it could become a real cultural precinct of sorts there with the right time and energy. So couldn't agree more. Councillor Collins.
Yeah, it's really good to see actually, because in the last 12 years I've been in council, it's something we've had 2 private galleries which have opened and closed, and it's something that the public every few months we get a phone call. We've got to do something about an art gallery. This is fantastic. So hopefully it gets the public support when it opens, and good luck to them.
Thank you.
Briefly, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to follow on, I think as raised by the other councillors, this falls back to having these sort of arts, cultural and heritage facilities throughout the region. Creative Connections is a region-wide group, but also I think when you do look back to our arts, culture and heritage discussion paper, it actually specifically mentioned about taking advantage of underutilised council assets. So I do see support for it not only in this location, but for us to look around at other opportunities to advance this section of the community. Thanks.
Any further councillors? Okay, the motion that Council authorise the CEO to enter into negotiations to execute a 10-year peppercorn lease with Creative Connections for 192 Main Street, Proserpine. I put to the vote. Those in favour? The motion is carried 7-0. Okay, item 11.4. That's right, isn't it? Yep. Sport and Recreation Facility Management Grant, Bowen Sporting Complex.
Mr. Mayor, there a squad conflict of interest in this matter. The applicant is the client of SPV Partners, which I employee in many jobs. So I will refer to Scott for interest and leave the meeting.
Thank you, councillor. I move to Councillor Wright, second Councillor Simpson. Acting Director Hardy, would you like to speak to?
Councillors, the council operates a number of community grants, and this is one of them. It's for the sporting facilities grant, and one of the criteria for applying for this grant is for facilities or groups to have more than 400 participants. This grant's offered once a year to facilities, and the Bowen Sporting Complex has 950 participants. So $20,000 will help the clubs at Bowen Sporting Complex maintain the facilities and help the participants enjoy the sport. So our recommendation is to support the grant application for the Bowen Sporting Complex.
Thank you, Director. Any questions, comments, Councillor Wright?
Thank you. Through the chair, just a quick comment. I know we fully support this. I think the committee does a fabulous job in running the facility and bringing the clubs together. They really do have a big job to do, so this helps them greatly. But also just on another topic, we were out there, I think, at the beginning of this year, just to have a look at the facility, and it was quite dry, but just an update on the watering, and the pump has been installed. And has been tested, and there's 3 stations that can run at a time, so hopefully the fields will be up and running and green again in no time. So yeah, positive note today.
Thank you. Anything further, councillors? Okay, the motion that council approve the payment of $20,000 Sport and Rec Facility Grant to Bowen Sporting Complex Coordinating Association, I put to the vote. Those in favour? Motion is carried 6-0. Someone please let Councillor Finlay back in the mix. Motion is carried, Councillor. Okay, item 11.5, donations, sponsorships, in-kind requests and grants approved October 2024. Moved Councillor Collins, second Councillor Clifford. I think the report's fairly self-explanatory there. Does anyone have any comment or query? Okay, no. Well, the motion that the council received the report noting the disclosed financial support across the various categories, I put to the vote. Those in favour? Motion is carried unanimously. Item 11.6, councillor-related policies review. I'll move this one. Second, Councillor Wright. Acting Director James, would you like to speak to?
Thank you. Through the chair. So council recently reviewed and re-adopted its council policies framework, and following that piece of work now we've been going through the policies and reviewing and aligning them with the development and outcome of the new council. Today we bring upon the councillor-related policies. So on the agenda today we have 7 policies that have been reviewed, and I will touch on those separately to discuss some of the changes within those policies. We also have with us 4 policies that are being put to council for to be rescinded as well. So we'll start with the councillor acceptable request policy. So this is a policy that we are required to have under the legislation, and it is around having a process in place for acceptable requests, guidelines in the way that councillors deal with the staff or the administration itself, and it's usually guided around assistance, advice and information, and to allow councillors to be able to carry their responsibilities under the Act. Within the changes that you have in the proposed policies today, you will see a change moving from the process we had before, which was a bit based on hierarchy, moving more to a function lead process, which is around councillors being having access to the actual asset owners and the people that have got the best information at the relevant times. And within the old council policy, we have removed all the information that is now outdated, that was in the old policy, and that requires the other roles and positions that were there. And in this new approach as well, we're removing the appendix to that document so that that sits separately and can be also managed operationally by the CEO, making the process easier without having to come to council. And also highlighting importantly the importance of the councillor support officer role, being that the main contact for councillors for all those other requests that fall within that role. So I'm happy to stop at this point, and if there are any questions or feedback or comments in regards to that policy before I move on to the next one.
Councillor Finlay?
Mr. Yeah, just in relation to this one, and I've had discussions with the CEO on this one as well. Can I just refer to item 3.6 in that policy? Just want to just obviously we've got to be thinking of the same hymn sheet and abide by this policy. So just for clarification purposes then, so if we ask for information, so say a copy of a plan of a block of council land, and I request a map of that, that's actually asking for information. And that request has to go through the CEO via our council support officer. If it was just a piece of advice to say, our Director of Planning, has an application been received on that block of land, I can put that request through to the Director, and the Director can reply back and say yes or no. But if I want a map of that piece of land, that's requesting information, and that piece of information has to be requested by the CEO. So can I just make sure that that's how I'm understanding it all? So then all requests for information has to go by the CEO.
So what this policy allows is, so at the moment the Act requires all requests to come to myself in relation to that. What this actually allows for is that all requests for information, particularly if they're requiring resources to be used to achieve that information, comes through the CEO. But we've also allowed through a list of functional leads that I'll be providing to the councillors, you can go to any of those functional leads and have a discussion in relation to it. If you require significant information, then you actually will have to come back to the CEO and request it through that process. We'll try and log that process to make sure we're clear, and then we'll follow up and ensure that information is provided throughout the process. But just to be clear in relation to that process going forward. But this does allow you to talk to the functional leads and discuss issues in relation to things and get some general advice back and forth in relation to it, so that not all things have to come through the CEO. I'll be circulating that functional lead after today's meeting so that you have that, and I'll probably recirculate it on a fairly regular basis every 6 or 12 months to ensure that you've actually got the right names and the right contacts for the various people. That functional lead enables you in some cases to talk directly to the Director, but in some cases it will be to the manager responsible for that particular function, who's probably got more content, detail and ability to provide you with some advice.
Question?
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, thank you.
Everyone else is clear?
Okay.
Councillor Barnes?
Cheers. Appreciate that. I will just say on the back of Councillor Finlay that within this policy, the Mayor's not actually captured by it if his request doesn't apply with this, but there's also a clause in there which says despite anything in this policy, we're allowed to go direct to the CEO. So overarching anything else, the CEO is our first point of call. That can be done through a support officer, telephone, email or in person, but it does give us any issues with the policy as it stands, we still have that ability to go through. The one issue for me, I think I've been through this a lot, I'm 2 weeks short of 2 years probably I've been working on this policy, but I am voting for this today where I haven't seen the draft list of function leads. So I know we've got to the point of having the definition, and at this point I'm happy to move forward on that definition. And as I said, we can open up discussions from there at an operational level. But outside of that, that's where we got to. Thank you.
Anything else on this particular policy? Right, Director or...
Thank you. Through the chair, we'll move on to the next one, which is around the councillor expenses and resources. Again, another policy we're required to have under the regulations, and really it's about adopting an expenses reinvestment policy, which shows the parameters to authorize payments for reasonable expenses incurred or to be incurred by councillors, and providing those resources, including administrative support to councillors to be able to discharge their duties. In looking at this one, it was so much more cosmetic changes around clarification around the head of power, defining the clear policy statement, clarification around the councillor administrative resources, inclusion of the legal cost coverage as well for reinvestments if where councillors are involved. Also expanding the definition of council business to include community external groups, meetings and events, and also addition to align with the purchasing cards and financial delegations, which is something that has been actioned already. And also have added the expansion for council vehicles usage to be allowed as well into neighbouring councils for council business. And lastly, changing the process to allow as well for domestic professional development to be approved through a process which is the CEO and consultation with the mayor, and also still leaving anything that is international having to come back to council for a council resolution. Thank you. Stop there and open for any questions or feedback.
Anything on councillors? Councillor Collins?
Yeah, just under the budget provisions, 4.1, a budget will be allocated to each councillor each financial year for reasonable expenses incurred under this policy. What is that amount and what is it actually used for? Please. Just out of curiosity, because I mean, like, there should be a limit on what councillors are allowed to use when they go to conferences, etc. You know, there should be a limit put on each councillor. So I'm just curious what that budget amount is. I've never ever seen any of that before.
So I'll take a notice to give specific details on the breakdown, but as I do believe in the previous years, we have had a cap of, I believe, up to 15,000, and that covers everything that a councillor can go to or that they can do. But however, that is reviewed every budget year that we go in. So if that is something that obviously through the budget process that needs to be adjusted to what council defines as reasonable in the next budget, that can happen through that process to set it at a level that council is comfortable with.
Thank you. Anything further on this particular policy? Okay, James, on to the next one.
Thank you. So the next one is the councillor conduct investigations policy, which deals with any matters of suspected inappropriate conduct for councillors, which are referred by the Office of the Independent Assessor, being the body that initially assesses any of these matters. This process for this is when they refer matters back to us, how we're supposed to deal with them. They have provided us with a template for the policy, and we have followed that process, and that template in itself being from the OIA actually covers any recommendations. It covers the policy itself, make sure that it's actually consistent with the OIA recommendations, and also is in alignment with the Department of Local Government in regards to what's allowed as well. And in looking at that policy now, we've made it clear in terms of the council direction and what we do under that policy as well. So this for us is really mainly a change of template to align with the template that is provided to allow for this policy.
Okay. Any questions, councillors? Next one then, James.
Excellent, thank you. The next one is our social media policy. This is a policy we have under the Public Records Act and the Information Privacy Act as well, and the Local Government Act. And it is really to set up the standards of behaviour that are expected in relation to professional use of social media on behalf of council and the use of social media and by council employees as well. Within the proposed change is alignment with the template that the department provides a template for this as well, and also removing any of the procedural elements that we had in our previous policy, so that can be captured under an operational policy within that the CEO can approve, and also in the same way allows us to be able to rescind that private email and social media platforms policy, as the high level content that's required is now captured within this policy, and anything that was procedural from that policy will be covered by an operational policy as well.
Any questions on that one, councillors? Okay, on to the next one, James.
Moving on, the next one is the media relations policy required under the Local Government Act to establish protocols for managing communication between the council, the media, and to ensure a coordinated, coherent, accurate and reliable presentation of council information, so that council maintains credibility, integrity and customer confidence and also in enforcing council's corporate values and brand. This one, we looked at it again using the template provided by the department, aligning ourselves to that. We've redefined the scope to make it clear exactly what this covers, and also included some record keeping and compliance requirements within the policy itself.
Thank you. Any questions? And on to the Councillor Roles and Development Matters.
Excellent, thank you. So the Councillor's role in development matters, again, our objective for this one is to ensure that we're encouraging our councillors to be able to interact with the community when any of these matters around development or around and setting the parameters around that. It is really about maintaining and ensuring ethical and transparent interactions and caring between councillors, developers, lobbyists and submitters. The policy will assist councillors when you're all interacting with stakeholders to promote good decision making and enhancing community confidence and obviously good governance as well. Main aspects around this policy is defining exactly what happens around the pre-application stage, but the main message around it is councillors should not feel prohibited in promoting the benefits of developing the region, and we're encouraging responsible and appropriate development within the region. So councillors may also express their understanding of community views and attitudes in relation to those matters. When we talk about post-lodgement and assessment, then also once a development application is lodged, where council and councillors should not in that stage then initiate or seek to be involved in the meetings with the developers or lobbyists about the applications and the processes. And then when at the decision stage where we've got a development application and it's being decided, in that stage again where we've got delegations in place, it is then not appropriate for councillors to interact with those developers, lobbyists or submitters, and the application should be decided through the delegation itself. And last but not least, post-development decision, or if there is an appeal, and this is after the application has been decided. Once a decision is made, councillors are then required to respect that decision of council. So this really just makes it very clear for all those different phases in terms of council, what level of interaction you can have, whether an application is not lodged or has been lodged throughout the process.
Thank you. Any comment or question? I think I'll just comment on that last one. Appreciate the work that's gone into that, particularly the preface there. I think, I think the community looks to us to really set the vision for our region, so it's important that we're proactive in engaging with the development industry before they lodge their applications with council. And really, I think the more work we can do with them prior to that point, the less problems we're probably likely to see down the track. So really encourage all councillors to keep that in mind, that when we are hearing about things or prospective ideas, that we're engaging with those proponents to really try and make sure that the opportunities that are good opportunities for our region are realised. So. Acting Director, I think just the entertainment hospitality policy, I don't know if we covered that, and I think the other one I noticed in there was an investigations policy in the report.
Yes, I did touch on the investigations.
Was that
entertainment? Oh, yeah, that one. So the entertainment and hospitality, this is, again is to ensure compliance with the Local Government Act regulations, and that council expenditure in relation to entertainment and hospitality is reasonable and appropriate to ensure that public safety standards of accountability are maintained, and that there is a consistency in the way that entertainment and hospitality expenditure is also administered. So when we look at this policy, there was a few things we recommended in the changes. Alignment with the model template, so this is one that a template is also provided, model. Clarification of the head of power, and we have also made some clear lines of approval around where we've got any authorization of spending, either whether it's between the council officers or the CEO, or whether there is a councillor or who authorizes which area for each of those different parts. And also the appropriate documentation that needs to be supplied when claiming any reimbursements or expenses, especially those that are around taxation issues. And also where there is any doubt or validation for claiming any particular spending, then the principles of this policy should be used to make that determination.
Just one more question. So just confirming that the policy is being rescinded. You want to talk to them as well?
Yeah, okay, sure. So I'll speak on those ones together. So the ones that are recommended for rescinding today is the gift and benefits policy, the related party disclosure policy, confidentiality for councillors policy, and the private email and social media platforms. The first three, really the reason for rescinding these policies is these policies are actually covered by legislation, and everything is actually prescribed in the legislation when it comes to gifts, related parties. And also for confidentiality, the Councillors' Code of Conduct already covers that element, what that means, how it applies. So what we have found is these policies are basically a duplication of what's already in the Act, and that does cause us a problem, because if there's any inconsistency, it will be either more caused by our policies. So we have the powers already through the Act and the Code of Conduct to apply what those three elements, how councillors should deal with them. So the recommendation is let's refer directly to the Act, then we don't have any inconsistencies. And the way we've looked at it is we use policies to plug gaps where we see there's any grey area, where there's legislation and there's no actual particular or specific information to relate the information down. In these three areas, I think the legislation is very prescriptive and everything is covered, that anything that we have in a policy is already in the legislation. So all it will create is policies that might go out of date, and then we have inconsistencies. So that's why we're recommending those three to be removed. And the last one, the private email and social media, as I mentioned already, we have already incorporated the policy element of that into the social media policy. And most of what was covered in there is procedural. So really that will become something that goes into an operational policy rather than a strategic policy that council needs to make a decision on. So thank you.
Thank you, Director. Any further comment or question before we close this one off? Okay. The motion that Council adopt the 7 policies there listed in the report and rescind the 4 there also listed in the report. I put to the vote those in favour. The motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 11.7, notification of water meter reading period. Moved Councillor Wright, second Councillor Clifford. Anything to touch on with this one, Acting Director? It's pretty clear. I think it's really setting the date at the 16th of December 2024 for the water meter period. Does anyone have any questions or comments on that?
I get very excited, Mr. Mayor.
There's a bit of rain in Bowen this morning, Councillor Fly, so lightning strikes, eh? Okay, anything further there, councillors? Okay, the motion that council declare the water meter reading date to be the 16th of December for commencement of reading the water meters for the billing period. I put to the vote. Those in favour? The motion is carried unanimously. Item 11.8, monthly finance report. Move Councillor Clifford, second Councillor Wright. Acting Director, would you like to?
Yeah, I'll say something because I think Jason will not forgive me if I did not say anything on the highlight of the month. So just a few key points to touch on that. So this is obviously presenting the October 2024 monthly financial report with the comparatives to our BR1 adopted last month by Council. So year to date operating surplus at 31st of October set at 21.2 million due to the first half year rates being levied in August. And the operating revenue is tracking slightly under budget at 97% due to the Shoot Harbour fuel sales being down and phasing of cruise ships related revenue partially offset by additional revenue from the PAC and licenses and permits. And the operating expenses are tracking slightly under budget at 90% with labour vacancies across council and materials and services under budget at 88% due to consultants and contractors expense with additional reviews for phasing to take place during BR Budget Review 2. Our community wealth ended at 1.4 billion with contract assets where we have done the work but have not met the conditions to invoice the customers, increasing from 5.5 million to 9.3 million. Cash balances remain at healthy levels with 50 million invested in terms deposit at comparative rates to maximize return on investments with 29 million in capital commitments expected to reduce the cash balance as works are completed and bills are paid. Thank you.
Any questions or?
Furthermore, sorry, just realised I have more. Don't want to let Jason down. So I guess again, during BR1, the capital budget increased from 97.3 million to 106.6 million. At the end of October, 20% or 21.5 million of the full year capital budget has been delivered with 29.6 million committed to date, representing 48% of the full year budget spend or committed. Sustainability ratios ending October 24 are all within the targeted range and will vary throughout the financial year. Council's ability to meet the annual budget and manage cash flows are on track for the year-to-date October period. Budget risks continue to be monitored as the year progresses for further discussion in future with the budget reviews.
Director, Councillor Fenner.
Thanks, Mayor. Just also a request for some information just pertaining to this, please, as part of our budget deliberations going forward, just regarding to our borrowings. I would like to point out loan by loan, the actual main period of loan, and also the interest and redemption and the loan repayment issue for each of those loans, please.
Chair, thank you. Take that on notice.
So just to clarify, you want that just an information separately, or you want that added to the report?
No, I'm happy to have it as information to be got to all councillors.
Any further councillors? Okay. Motion that council receive the financial report and unaudited financial statements for the period ended 31st October 2024. I put to the vote. Those in favour? Motion is carried unanimously. Okay, that's the end of our ordinary reports. Item number 12, late reports. There are no agenda items for this section, which brings us up to confidential matters. Move Councillor Clifford, second Councillor Wright. Motion to council close the meeting to the public at 10 a.m. in accordance with section 254J of the Local Government Regulations 2012 to close meetings for the purpose of discussing the following items and the reasons for going into closed session. Report 13.1, quarterly legal matters update, being illegal advice obtained by local government or legal proceedings involving the local government, including 4 example legal proceedings that may be taken by or against the local government. Put that to the vote. Councillor, yep, you're for, Councillor Fenner? Yes? See a hand, please. So yeah, that's unanimous to close the meeting. Thank you. Yes. about the, yep, 1042. All good? Okay, so the item 13.1, quarterly legal matters update. Move Councillor Collins, second Councillor Clifford. The motion that Council receive the legal matters update for the period July to September 2024. I put to the vote. Those in favour? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. Okay, item 14, matters of importance. Would any councillors have any matters of importance? I'll start with Councillor Collins.
Yeah, just let you all know, a couple of weeks ago I had the pleasure of opening a art display for accomplished and emerging artists at the museum. If you get the chance to go and have a look at it, go and have a look at it. There's some really good artists and local artists in there, and it's actually Dawn Pierce has done a lot of the training of emerging artists and that, and there's some really good kids coming through in the system, and obviously there's some great emerging artists, so if you get the opportunity, don't miss out, go and have a look. It's there until the 15th of December, so yeah.
Councillor Clifford.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. About a week ago, down at the latest in Parkers Road, there was, I don't know how else to describe it, but a poor helpless animal was killed violently. Now when one of the locals allegedly rang council, they were told that the CCTV camera wasn't working, hadn't been working for 2 years, and we couldn't afford to replace it. And I find that unacceptable. You know, why have we got CCTV cameras and they're not working? Because around the boardwalk, I believe some of them aren't working, some of them in the main street aren't working. You know, we either have them or we don't, and you know, I just find it very distressing that we have no recourse against whoever committed this crime, and it's just horrible. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to respond to that, Mr. Seaman?
Just in relation to CCTV cameras, we have asked for a review of all CCTV cameras from our ITT area, and also for the electrics associated with them to be done, and a report come back to us to actually work through those.
Councillor.
This has been going on for a very long time, and you know, we're either serious about public and safety and our people and our assets, or we're not. And I would suggest it's probably about 2.5, 3 years since I first brought this up.
Okay. Anything further? Okay, well, if we're all done, I would like to declare the meeting finished at 10:45 a.m. Thank you everyone for their attendance today.